There are moments when the very rhythm of the universe seems to pulse in unison with the quiet chambers of the human heart. September 9th, marked by the numerical sequence 999, is not just a date on a calendar, but a resonance, a symbolic alignment that whispers of endings, of thresholds of a sacred invitation to completion. The number 9 has always carried the weight of culmination. In numerology, it is the final digit before the spiral loops back into the beginning. The number that holds within itself the story of all that came before. To encounter it tripled, like 3 bells striking in perfect harmony, is to stand before a portal that does not merely suggest closure, but insists on it. The 999 portal is less about a single day and more about the architecture of cycles, both vast and intimate. Just as the seasons draw to a close and offer themselves to the new, so do our lives carry patterns that demand recognition before we can cross their thresholds. Endings are rarely easy. They come wrapped in memory, nostalgia, even resistance. Yet, the essence of this portal is not sorrow for what is gone, but the liberation that follows surrender. It is the exhale after the long-held breath, the silence after the last note of a song, the soft closing of a door that has long been waiting for release. Think of the way the ancients viewed numbers, not as sterile symbols, but as living archetypes. The 9 was not only a digit, it was a teacher, a culmination of wisdom, a reminder that wholeness is not static but transitional. To step into the 999 portal is to step into the wisdom of completion, a recognition that every cycle, whether of a relationship, a belief system, a chapter of identity, or even Orsel's journey across lifetimes, is destined to close so that space may be made for the new. And so the invitation emerges not simply to mark a date, but to listen deeply. What in your life is asking to be honored, completed, released? What unfinished stories are yearning to be given their final sentence? The 999 portal is a cosmic reminder that nothing is wasted. For every ending is the compost that nourishes the seed of the beginning yet to come. The architecture of completion. To understand the 999 portal, we have to look deeper than dates and numbers. This is about the geometry of endings, the way life weaves cycles like a tapestry, knotting threads in patterns that only reveal themselves when seen from above. The number 9 carries the vibration of closure, integration, and wisdom gained from the long arc of experience. Tripled, it becomes a resounding gong, impossible to ignore, echoing through both the personal and collective psyche. Completion is not annihilation. It is a circle closing, an echo returning to its source, a river finding the sea. When we speak of the 999 portal as the completion of a cycle, we are not only speaking of endings in the sense of loss or disappearance, but of fulfillment. 9 is the number of the harvest. It is the final fruit hanging heavy on the vine, ripened through time, ready to be offered. To resist harvesting is to let the fruit decay. To honor it is to acknowledge the effort, the journey, the lessons embedded in its sweetness. This portal is also about integration. Completion means gathering the scattered pieces of our story and seeing them not as fragments, but as parts of a whole. Every misstep, every triumph, every silence, and every scream has played its role. The cycle is not complete until it is honored in its entirety. That is the essence of 9N, embrace of the totality. A refusal to exclude or deny any part of what has unfolded on a personal level. This can manifest as the closure of long-standing patterns, relationships that have taught their lessons, identities that no longer serve, dreams that have already flowered and now ask to be released. On a collective level, 999 whispers of endings in human consciousness itself, cycles of fear, division, or outdated systems that have reached their limit and can no longer sustain the future. There is also an initiatory quality here. Completion is always the threshold of initiation. To pass through the 999 portal is to step beyond mourning the end and into preparing the vessel for what comes next. The spiral continues, but it does not repeat. IT evolves. 9 says, you have carried the weight long enough. Now set it down, so your hands may be free to carry the next gift. It is worth remembering that the power of this portal does not lie in the date itself, but in our willingness to align with its resonance. Like a tuning fork, it vibrates whether we notice it or not. But when we attune, when we pause and allow ourselves to acknowledge what is ready to close, the vibration deepens. It becomes ceremony, passage, rite of completion. The core of the 999 portal is this paradox: to finish is not to end, but to prepare for new beginnings that could never have taken shape without the space left by closure. The cycle is not broken, it is fulfilled. Stories woven in the language of 9. Throughout human history, numbers have been more than markers of quantity. They have been symbols, archetypes, living languages through which the cosmos whispers its hidden order. Among these, the number 9 has held a peculiar magnetism, appearing in myths, scriptures, and sacred designs across cultures. To walk through the 999 portal is to enter not only a numerical alignment, but a mythic landscape shaped by centuries of symbolic resonance. Consider the myth of the phoenix. This radiant bird, said to live for hundreds of years, meets its end not in quiet fading but in fire. It burns to ash only to rise anew, radiant and unbroken in essence though transformed in form. The phoenix's cycle is a living embodiment of 9, culmination, release, and renewal through death's completion. The 999 portal invites us into this very dance. It asks us to look at the fires of our own lives, the relationships, beliefs, and stories that must be given to the flames in order for rebirth to occur. Without the burning, the rising cannot come. In Egyptian cosmology, completion was symbolized in the weighing of the heart against the feather of mat. The heart had to be light, unburdened by unfinished ties, unresolved debts, or unacknowledged truths. Only then could the soul pass into the eternal. This image is a mirror for us as we approach the 999 portal. What is weighing on the heart that must be released? What can be forgiven, let go, honored, or surrendered so that we, too, may pass through with lightness? 9 also appears in the cycles of creation myths. The Norse spoke of 9 worlds, interconnected and woven through the great tree Yggdrasil. The Maya divided the underworld into 9 layers, each representing a stage of transformation. In these stories, 9 is never an ending without meaning. It is a structured passage, a climb, a descent, or an initiation that takes the soul through its necessary stages before renewal. Even in the natural world, we see 9 woven into the rhythm of life. Human gestation takes 9 months. It is the measure of time required for the mystery of conception to unfold into the fullness of birth. The womb itself honors the cycle of 9 as sacred duration, reminding us that completion is not random, but divinely timed. To enter the 999 portal is to stand at the threshold of this same cosmic timing, where what has gestated must now be born, and what has finished must return to the earth. There is also a symbolic echo in the geometry of sound. In music, a cycle completes at the octave, the return to the root note at a higher vibration. 9 acts as the invisible bridge between the closing of one octave and the opening of another. When tripled, as in 999, it is like the universe striking a chord, so powerful that it reverberates through both the seen and unseen, announcing not merely an ending, but a grand resolution. For all its cosmic resonance, the 999 portal is not just a symbol for meditation or myth. It is a living call to action, a reminder that cycles complete not in abstraction, but in our daily lives, in the choices we make, in the ways we respond to the endings that are already unfolding. To honor the portal, we must ground its energy in practice, weaving it into the ordinary fabric of our existence. At the most intimate level, this means recognizing what is closing within us. Perhaps it is an inner narrative, one that has shaped us for years but no longer feels true. Perhaps it is a relationship that once carried deep meaning, but now has reached its natural conclusion. Or it may be a way of moving through the world, a pattern of thought or behavior that has served its purpose but has grown heavy, constricting the next stage of growth. The portal does not demand we force these endings. It simply asks us to acknowledge them and release our resistance. To say it is complete, that act alone transforms heaviness into liberation. This can also be a time for ritual. Human beings have always marked endings with ceremony, because ritual creates closure that the psyche can feel and trust. To honor the 999 portal, one might light a candle for each 9, 3 flames burning down to signify release. One might write down what is ending, then bury the paper in the earth or release it to the wind. These simple gestures anchor the immensity of completion into tangible form, allowing us to embody what might otherwise remain only conceptual. On a collective level, the 999 portal asks us to look honestly at the cycles humanity is completing. Old systems are crumbling: economic, political, spiritual. What has been built on fear, separation, and domination is reaching its limit. The portal does not promise ease in this unraveling, but it does promise meaning. We are living through the close of an era, and with it comes the opportunity to release the burdens of the past. Money may step into a more conscious, compassionate beginning. Practical integration also means cultivating trust. Endings rarely feel comfortable. They often bring grief, uncertainty, or a sense of emptiness. But to embody the vibration of 9 is to see these not as failures, but as necessary thresholds. The farmer does not despair when the field lies fallow after the harvest. They understand the soil must rest to prepare for the next season. In the same way, we are invited to rest in the space that completion creates, to trust that emptiness is not void but potential. Finally, integration asks us to embody gratitude. Completion is not only about release but about honoring what has been. To thank the story, the person, the pattern, or the cycle that is ending is to seal it with grace. Gratitude is the final key that locks the door behind us, so we may step fully into what lies ahead. Walking through the gate of 9. The 999 portal is not a passing date, not a superstition, not a fleeting alignment to be observed from a distance. It is a mirror, a threshold, a living teacher disguised as a sequence of numbers. It arrives to remind us that life is not a straight line, but a spiral. Forever circling, forever renewing, forever asking us to honor endings as sacred as beginnings. As you stand before this portal, you are invited to pause. Imagine the sound of 3 bells ringing in unison, their vibration rippling through your body, through your heart, through the very marrow of your soul. Each bell is a 9, each 9 is a cycle, and together they resound as one great chorus of completion. Feel what stirs within you when you allow yourself to listen. Which cycles are asking to be completed? What patterns, what identity, what attachments are ready to dissolve into the silence that follows the final note? Completion is not about losing. It is about becoming whole. The stories you release do not vanish. They live on as wisdom, as memory, as the soil in which the seeds of your next chapter will root. The relationships that conclude, the dreams that shift, the beliefs that fall away, they all contribute to the fullness of who you are, even as they bow and step aside to make room for what is coming. The 999 portal is, above all, a call to courage. To walk through it is to trust the unseen, to step into emptiness without clinging to the old. It is to believe that the spiral of life is faithful, that every ending carries within it the hidden blueprint of a beginning we cannot yet see. To resist is to remain heavy, to circle back into repetition. To surrender is to rise, to flow, to awaken into the next octave of your becoming. So let this be your transformational call. Light a candle, whisper a prayer. Stand beneath the stars on the night of the portal and declare aloud what is complete. Thank it, release it, offer it to the great fire of life. Then turn, open your arms to the horizon and walk forward unburdened. The cycle has completed. The portal is open. The next chapter waits for you.